I'm Emilie Levecque, and I'm a state of Maine licensed real estate broker with Portside Real Estate Group. And this is going to be my 9th year in 2021 doing real estate in Maine, and I love it. Hobbies I have. So growing up, I was a swimmer, competitive swimmer. So I actually used to love doing that, but now I love watching my kids swim. They're competitively swimming, and this year has thrown a little wrench into things. So I've really become a full-time teacher and real estate broker. So thank you to all my patient clients out there this year. You guys are awesome. So I grew up in Maine, born and raised in Cape Elizabeth, just over the bridge. I currently live in North Deering with my husband and 2 kids. And they're 8 and 5, so there are lots to do there. But I love Maine, and it's a great place to raise a family, but also to live, work, and play, and sell real estate. So I absolutely loved going to open houses when I was little with my parents. Growing up in Cape, we are a coastal community. I would walk around with my mom on Sundays going to open houses, and I kind of fell into this when I got licensed because I went to lunch with my brother. I didn't really know what to do after college, and he just said, "Hey Em, why don't you get your real estate license? You'd be so good at it." Got my license 6 weeks later, and I haven't looked back. How eclectic it is. I mean, you're gonna get clients with all different ideas of what they want based on, where they want to be, whether it's the Lakes region, coastal. You're gonna have developers coming in the last 5 years. I've seen a huge rise in new development, new construction here in especially Portland and the surrounding towns. But it's just so diverse. It's had me meet so many amazing people. My clients are just awesome. But this being my 9th year, I really think that we're gonna see a continuation of all these out-of-state buyers that I've been working with in 2020 continue. People wanna come to Maine, they wanna move to Maine. They're all working from home now, they can keep their jobs, and they can come here. I've been seeing though, even though there's people moving in from out of state, these people all have amazing connections to Maine. They're just not randomly moving here. They have family here that they've always wanted to live near. They have friends that they went to college with that now they can live next to. So there's just so many great stories that I've connected families and old friends because of 2020 and what it's given us. So I can't wait to see what happens in 2021. It's gonna be cool. What's about Maine? Well, especially from a financial standpoint, if you can keep your salary at your job that's in the big city, Boston, New York, and come here, you can run to Target, you can go to the beach, and you can go to the lake all in 45 minutes. You know what I mean? Something you can't do if you live outside Boston. It's gonna take you all day. I remember my brother said it best. He recently relocated here from Boston this summer, and he bought a multi-unit in Portland. And he called me after 2 hours of running errands on Saturday, and he said, "This is why I moved back to Maine. I just got all my errands done before 10 a.m. and now you can come over and play with the kids." So it's just that it allows for a more balanced and healthy lifestyle. I think that people crave the outdoors. They crave, not being stuck in the minutia of, traveling to work for an hour and then coming back and the week is done. I think it just allows for a more balanced and healthy life, which isn't that the goal? So some changes. So 2013 was my first year being licensed, and back in the day, we'd list a property and it was not typical it would stay on the market 30, 60 days. We'd have a marketing plan that we'd go through. Now it's super speed. So a property is listed and the market shifted 7 years later at the end of 2020. It's a seller's market. It's not a balanced market. The typical average days on market in Cumberland County are, around a week. So when something comes on, especially when I'm working with buyers that aren't that familiar with this market, it's super important for me to educate you and sit down before we even go out and see property, before we even set you up on an MLS search, to just let you know that this is what it's like. I always do a run through of, hey, you see a property that comes on, this is what we got to do to get you in there. So being prepared and talking to your realtor, getting with a great lender like Skylar Welch, is super important before you start that process. And then on the listing side, prep is super important too. I take a huge amount of time sitting down with sellers, talking to them about the market and going through their house and learning about their situation at length to let them know, hey, this is what it's like and we need to find you a place to go potentially. So these are your options. That's something that we've been running into a lot this year. My inspiration comes from my kids. Absolutely. I mean, they are my why 1,000%. I look at them, they're just so full of energy, full of life. And every day I just want to, be a good example for them and have the most fun possible too. Two to 5 years. So my gut tells me, and just all my experience and what I've been doing this year, that people are going to continue to come to Maine, to Greater Portland, which is my primary focus. That's where I sell. I sell from, right outside Portland, in Portland, all the way up to the Lakes region and, down in York County up to the mid-coast. And I've seen such an influx of buyers. What I need to let people know is that we do need listings. We need people to sell their house. So if you're hesitant or just want to have a conversation with me about that, I've been encouraging people, don't hesitate to call your realtor. Let's chat. Let's get an update on the market. I don't think these people are gonna stop coming to Maine, or your house, you could have a lot of equity in your house that you currently own and you cannot even know its worth, and you can make that next move for your family that you've just been kind of like, I don't know, I'm hesitant, I don't know if I should do it. Let's have that conversation. Portland, Maine is on the rise. I don't think we've hit that ceiling right on the peninsula in Portland. It's a fantastic city. It's a great place to raise a family. It's a great place to work and play. There's a lot of companies coming here. There's a lot of families moving here. I don't see that stopping. There's a lot of development happening that I know about. Commercial buildings going down on the waterfront. There's companies coming here. Northeastern is putting a whole campus here in Portland. That's a 10-year process. So that in itself, as one example, thousands of faculty members, thousands of students. There's people working and flocking here, and it's gonna help the not only real estate market, but it's gonna help the economy here as well. And other areas, it's gonna have that sprawl effect that we see in other cities. I always relate some of the more rural towns that people may be hesitant to look at. So I get an out-of-state buyer, they wanna be, right around Portland, in the Westbrook, Falmouth, Cumberland. I say, hey, what about Bodenham? What about Brunswick? What about Bath? Because right outside Boston or in New Jersey or wherever you're moving from, the highway, it's only a 45-minute drive. And maybe they've been commuting for the last 10 years, an hour and a half. Just kind of broadening their, what could be out there for them, I think is super important. I'll tell you a story. So when COVID first hit, real estate became non-essential in the city of Portland for a couple, I think it was over a week or something. During that week, I listed 2 Portland properties. So when that happened, we had, my sellers and I, we had to think on our feet. Should we keep these houses on the market? We can't even show these properties. What are we gonna do, So we ended up keeping them both on. And one actually sold from a sight unseen offer from a couple that was moving up from Boston that got a call from the hospital to come move here because of COVID. So that was just one real world example of how, he basically circled a search 3 miles within the hospital. One of my listings happened to be there, and they called, and we're just so grateful that there was something on the market. So in that sense, when you're talking to your sellers and you're questioning, oh gosh, what do we do in this situation? There's always 2 sides to every story. We kept the listing on. It ended up working. They're thrilled. They moved back to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and they're enjoying life in the Tetons. So you gotta have some hustle. You gotta have some hustle. You thinking on your feet, gotta have some hustle. You know, I'm very fortunate in that I'm from here. I was born and raised in Cape Elizabeth. I went to Cheverus High School here, which is a private school in Portland. Graduated '05. I've really stayed connected with everybody that I grew up with, and I'm hugely involved with Cheverus. I married a guy from Westbrook. So having that local knowledge and that lifetime of experience living here has really helped me be successful. I think it also gives all these out-of-state buyers just a level of comfort that, you know, I know the coffee shops, I know the coffee shops owners, I know restaurants, you know, but I also have a Rolodex of people that can help them when they purchase their house. You know, do you need a handyman? Do you need another person to paint? I mean, it goes on and on and on. So that has been a huge help for me. Let's chat as soon as possible and prep you before you're even looking. I gotta educate you on the market. I gotta educate you on the process based on what type of property you're looking for. The process could be a little different. I gotta connect you with a lender if you need one. If you don't, you know, then we'll talk about that strategy and how that can help you. But being prepared and talking to me early on is gonna be your biggest help. I get a lot of DMs. My Instagram handle is Emilie Levecque on Instagram. Please follow me. I'm constantly updating my stories just with what I'm doing. And you know, you can call me on my cell phone, 207-329-6716, or Emily@portsidereg.com is my email.